Please welcome the other Hector Garza, who graduated from Texas Region 1 Gear Up. Edinburg North High School grad, Hector Garza.
I'm a bit taller, so I need to move the mic. Well, good morning. I'm from Edinburg. I graduated from Edinburg North High School just this past June, and my name is also Hector Garza. But potential, it goes back to a lot of history in my family. Potential is such a big word in my family. My father is a huge example of it. I sit outside with my father some nights, and we speak till 1 o'clock in the morning, and he has to wake up 3 hours later to go to work from 4 to 7. I'm the son of an immigrant. He immigrated from the United States when he was 18 and started a family and quickly started working in construction. So his highest education was 5th grade. My mother graduated high school but did not have the opportunity to go to college. So my favorite story my father tells me, he calls it el profesor y el asistente, the professor and his assistant. And the professor and the assistant are conducting a census in their small town. They go to the city, and they count every single person in that city. And every single person there is up to the standard of living. But they notice there's a house outside of town. And that house is run down, broken, it's isolated from the rest of the town. So they go and they see, well, let's see if anyone lives there. They go to that house that's run down, broken, poorly patched. And they knock on the door, and surprisingly, there's people inside. There's 5 people living inside in a house that only has 1 room. The room is the kitchen, the restroom, everything's all in one. And the professor asks them, what's going on here? I see no cars outside. I see no ways of transportation. Do you guys even go to the city for your basic needs? And the head of the household, which is the father, says, no, I have 3 sons and daughters and my wife, and we all rely on that 1 cow that's over there. It gives us milk. It provides and it helps fertilize our garden, and we rely solely on that. So the professor and the assistant are in kind of awe, like, wow. The assistant is more perplexed than the professor. The professor and the assistant leave, and as they're leaving, the professor stops halfway, tells his assistant, I want you to get that cow and throw it over that cliff. And the assistant that's the only way they live. How could I throw their cow over that cliff? Throw that cow over that cliff. Assistant gets off, gets the cow, throws it over the cliff, cow's gone. So they leave. The assistant feels more guilty than the professor, and the professor just leaves as if nothing happened. 5 years pass. The professor is like if nothing happened, but the assistant has felt guilty every single day since that day. So he's been saving up some money, and he tells himself, I'm going to go back there, and I'm going to give them some money just to help them out. They must be in poor shape right now, if they're even still there. So the assistant returns 5 years later, and there's a new house there. It's nicely built. There's cars outside. The grass is green, and it looks like their standard of living went up. The assistant goes up, and he's like, maybe it's a different family. Someone else bought the land. He knocks on the door. It's the same 5 people living in that house. A bigger house, a nicer house, and it looks like their standard of living went up. And he asked the father, are you the same father from 5 years ago? Yes, I remember 5 years ago when you guys came. A blessing in disguise happened. My cow fell over a cliff. At first, the first month, we're in pretty bad shape. But I have 2 sons, and they're able to work, and myself. So we were forced to go to town. We were forced out of our comfort zone. Our sense of mediocrity was gone. So, my dad says, the moral of this story, don't have a ranch next to a cliff, first of all. And mediocrity should never be something that you accept. And that's what Gear Up has brought to our region. Like Ms. Cantu said, we come from a region that's some of the 4 poorest counties in America. But yet, Gear Up has come and has unlocked our potential. I used to run around school. I was a YAC member, which is a Youth Advisory Committee, and I was the president. I used to go and, like a Mexican mom, grab people by the ears and yank them to go do their FAFSA, go do their applications. And it unlocked my potential to be assertive. I wasn't able to do this when I was 8 years old. I didn't even know how to speak English. I didn't know how to speak English until I was 10. And I was embarrassed as I was growing up to speak in front of a couple people, imagine 1,000 educators. But Gear Up has made me a student that my father always saw me. My father always told me that I have charisma. It's just you need to have that confidence. I wake up, thanks to Gear Up, I wake up every morning, I look in the mirror, you're handsome. You're handsome, you're successful, but you still haven't reached your highest point. Gear Up, one time I got up to Chaka Fatah on a conference and I told him all these things that I'm doing, and I'm still not satisfied. I graduated high school, I'm looking at my 4 years bachelor's, I'm already planning to go to graduate school. I'm not satisfied. And my father says potential is hunger. And that's what Gear Up has given the Valley, where I come from. Every student is hungry to be more, to do more, to see them. They want to see themselves in 10 years. They want to be leading in our region. They want to be able to say, I helped, I brought back to my region. My brother and I want to start our own scholarship foundation because he wants to be a physical therapist and I want to be a doctor. And we want to start our own practice and start our own scholarship foundation called the Hector Garza Foundation. That's after my father. So in reality, Gear Up has brought us audacity, arrogance, confidence, hunger. We're not satisfied in the Valley. And the truth is, it's sprinkled down to our students in the lower grade levels. I have a brother. He's only 14. He's be a freshman. But I remember when I started my first year in high school, he was already talking about me. Hey, SAT, what do I got to do to prepare for that? Dude, you're in 6th grade. He's like, you talk about it all the time. And so in 6th grade, for a student to already be thinking about SAT, ACT, PSAT, AP classes, doing enrollment, concurrent enrollment, and all these things, it's amazing. At the potential of the Valley, I like to say, has just flourished. I like to use my father as an example. My father, I got to tear up with my father. He only has a 5th grade education. But he gets my textbooks he loves math. And he's been getting my textbooks since algebra. And he's helped me through every year in my math courses. He has helped me every year. I took calculus last year. He would sit down with me and help me out with calculus. And I told him, Dad, how do you know calculus? He goes, when you're asleep, I read your textbook when I can't sleep. And he has learned calculus, and if someone who has a 5th grade education can do it, I'm pretty sure all of us can do it. So, Gear Up, I'd like to thank everybody in this room for your hearts, which are servants' hearts, which ones you do wake up every day to help out students and just everyone who's involved in this. You have a servant's heart, and keep it that way so we can also get that servant's heart. So, thank you so much. I love all y'all in this room, and thank you for getting me to my potential. Thank you so much.